Hi everyone, this is Hannah from Wonderful Woodlands, and today we are going to knit a Falling Leaves Potholder. I'm so excited. This is a really cute, really pretty fall pattern. I have been wanting to do a Falling Leaves pattern for a really long time, and I only just finally found the right stitch to do it in, so I'm really excited to share this with you today. So the first, we're going to use 4 different colors here. This is Camel from Lion Brand 24/7 Cotton. This is Goldenrod. This is Tangerine, and I didn't have enough of the red from Lion Brand 24/7 Cotton, so I'm going to substitute and I'm going to use, this is Malabrigo Rios instead in, I don't remember what color this is, but I'll post it in the notes. So anyway, pick 4 fall colors that you want to work with, or you can do more than 4. I'm going to work with 4. You can do more or less if you like. I'm going to start with Camel for our cast on today. We're going to do a knit cast on method. So take your yarn in your hands. You're going to make 1 twist, catch the bottom piece through the loop, and then pull tight to make yourself a little slip knot. Put your slip knot onto your first needle, and then we're going to do a knit cast on method here. You want this to be snug, but not too tight against the needle. So now you're going to slide both needles so that they're going through the same loop of yarn here. You're going to take your long tail here. This is the tail that's attached to your whole ball of yarn. You're going to wrap it around the bottom needle, and you're going to catch the loop on this side, and then we're going to thread this back onto the left-hand needle. Let's do it again. So both needles are going through the same loop of yarn. Wrap your yarn around, catch the loop, slide it onto the needle. Wrap your yarn around, catch your loop, slide it onto your needle. Wrap your yarn around, catch your loop, slide it onto your needle. Now we're going to do this until we have 41 stitches, and that's going to give us a 6" by 6" potholder. Okay, I believe this is 41 stitches. I'm going to count again real quick because sometimes I'm a stitch or 2 off, just to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Perfect. So now for our first row is super easy. All we're going to do is knit. So same as our knit cast on method, both stitches are going to be going through the same loop of yarn. You're going to wrap your yarn around the bottom needle, catch the loop, and then this time you're going to slide the stitch off the needle instead of slipping the stitch back on to the end of the needle. So both needles through the loop of yarn, wrap your yarn around, catch your stitch, slide the needle off. Both needles through, wrap the yarn around, catch your stitch, slide it off. Wrap the yarn around, catch the stitch, slide it off. Wrap the yarn around, catch the stitch, slide it off, all the way to the end of the needle. Okay, and this is the end of our first row. So now we're going to flip our work over, and the next row is going to be the row that we make our leaves on. The first stitch we're going to work is going to be a purl stitch. So for a purl stitch, your right hand needle is going to come through the first loop, pointing toward the left this time instead of pointing toward the right. You're going to work the same as a knit stitch. You're still going to wrap your yarn around the right hand needle. You're going to catch your loop on the back this time, and then you're going to slide that stitch off the end of the needle. Now we're going to do a special stitch that's going to make our leaf shape. So this one is the trickiest part of the whole pattern, but this is as hard as it gets. So if you can figure this one out, it's really not too bad from here. So we're going to go through, ooh, I'm already struggling. There we go. We're going to go through the next 3 stitches on your needle. So you can see both of my needles are going through 3 stitches together. So this would normally be called a purl 3 together, but we're not quite going to do a purl 3 together. So you're going to take your yarn, you're going to wrap it around the needle, and you're going to catch the yarn on the back side. Don't slide these off yet. Now you're going to take your yarn, you're going to make a loop around this needle. Now you're going to feed your needle back through these 3 loops again. Wrap your yarn around one more time. Catch it on the back, and now you can slide your 3 loops off. So what this did was it made 3 stitches on the right needle for the 3 stitches that you just dropped on the left needle. Let's do that whole thing again. So we're going to purl 1. This is just a basic purl stitch. Wrap the yarn around, catch the loop, and slide it off. Okay, we're going to go through 3 stitches. You're going to wrap your yarn around, catch the loop on the back, don't drop the stitches off the needle, make a loop around the right needle, bring the needle back through those 3 stitches, wrap the yarn around, catch the loop in the back. Now you can slide your 3 stitches off. 1 purl stitch, yarn around, catch the loop on the back, slide the stitch off. Now we're going to go through 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm using my left hand pointer finger to make sure these stitches don't slide off the end of the needle before I'm ready for them. Wrap your yarn around, catch your loop, wrap your yarn around, bring your needle back through, wrap your yarn around one more time, catch the loop, and then slide your stitches off. So you have 3 stitches, you can see here, you have 3 stitches for the 3 stitches that we just slipped off. So we're going to do this all the way across. Purl 1, and you're going to make your leaf. 1, 2, 3, yarn around, yarn around, yarn around, and then slide them off. Purl 1, through 3 stitches, yarn around, yarn around, yarn around, and off. Purl 1, through the 3 loops. Okay, yarn around, yarn around, yarn around, and off. Okay, last one. Purl 1, through, there we go, through the 3 loops, yarn around, yarn around, yarn around, and then slide them off. And then last one, you're just going to purl. Okay, now we're going to flip our work over and we're going to switch colors. So the next color I did was tangerine. So we're going to get our tangerine yarn out. You can set your camel yarn off to the side. And this row we're just going to knit again, but we're going to knit with a new color. So to add a new color in, you're just going to take your end, you're going to loop it over your right hand piece of yarn, or I'm sorry, your right hand needle. You're going to catch the loop and then slide that stitch off, and then we'll do it again. So take your tangerine yarn this time. Don't pull. See how I'm pinching this with my thumb so that the end doesn't pull through. You don't want to pull on this because you'll just pull your end right out. So wrap your yarn around, catch your stitch, and slide it off. Wrap your yarn around, catch your stitch, wrap your yarn around, catch your stitch, slide it off. And then over here you can take your camel end and you can just tighten this up a little bit so that the stitch isn't too loose on the end of the needle. So go ahead and knit all the way to the end of this needle. Okay, now this is going to be our second row of stars, and this row is going to be just a tiny bit different from the first row. We're going to purl our first 3 stitches this time. This is going to make our star, I'm sorry, not our stars, our leaves. This is going to make our leaves so that they are staggered a little bit. So needle through, wrap your yarn around, catch your stitch, slide it off, wrap your yarn around, catch your stitch, slide it off. So we did that 3 times. Now we're gonna go through 3 stitches again. It's the exact same pattern for the leaf, and if your stitches like-minded fall onto your right hand needle, that's okay, just slip them back onto your left hand needle and we'll keep going from here. So I have 3 stitches. You're gonna wrap your yarn around, catch it, wrap it around, catch it, and then slide those stitches off. Now we're just gonna purl 1. We're gonna purl 1, catch the stitch, slide it off, and we're gonna go back through 3 stitches here. Yarn around, yarn around, yarn around, and slide it off all the way across the needle. Okay, yarn around, yarn around, yarn around, and off. And then we're gonna purl the last 3, just like we purled the first 3. Be careful on this last stitch because you have loose yarn at the end. You don't want to pull that through, so take that as soon as you slide your stitch off and give it a little tug to tighten it up. So now you can see this is what your leaves are going to look like after your row of purl stitches, but you can see once we knit a row off of them, they start to fan out and look like little maple leaves. So now we're going to add a 3rd color, or the 3rd color I'm going to do is goldenrod. So same as before, you're just going to take your loop, you're going to catch your first stitch with it and then slide it off, and then take your tangerine and just tighten that stitch up a little bit so that it's not too loose on the needle. And then this row we're just going to knit all the way across. And now you're just going to keep alternating. I'm going to post this, but you're going to do the first row of leaves and then the 2nd row. So the first row we just did a purl 1 and then we made our leaf, and then the 2nd row we did a purl 3 and then we made our leaf. And you can see we have our little leaves coming along here. I tried to go for kind of a random assortment of leaves here. You can do these in any order that you want to do them. I just kind of picked a color and kind of went with it, so they're a little bit scattered. And you're going to carry, you can see I carried all of my, this is really important. I have 3 yarns going right now. You don't want to cut any of your tails because you're going to carry these up your work as you go. So you can see on this finished one, I have tails that I just carried up as I went. So after you do, so I went camel and then tangerine and then goldenrod and then red, and then I went back to tangerine. So I carried my tangerine yarn right here, and you can see I just have a little loop from where I carried it up. You don't want to pull these too tight when you bring your yarn up because you'll end up bunching it, and you want it to sit nice and long like this when you're finished. So I'm going to write this down for you, and then once you have done enough repeats so that you have 6 inches here, we will talk about how to bind off. So by now your piece should measure 6 inches. You can see here, I don't measure the first stitch on the needle, I measure from the first stitch off the needle, and you can see we've just worked 6 inches here. So now we are going to flip our work over and we'll do a bind off row. So to bind off here, you're going to use the last color that you just did your leaf stitch with. So for me, that's red. And we're just going to knit all the way across, and then as we knit, we're going to bind our stitches off. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to knit 2, and then we're going to take the right stitch, we're going to lift it over the left stitch for a bind off stitch. Now we're going to knit 1 more, then take the right stitch, lift it over the left stitch to bind off. And we're just going to repeat this all the way across the row. Okay, last 2 stitches here. then from here you can make this loop really, really big and slide your whole piece of yarn through and then just pull this to tighten up. And you can see you have your cute little pot holder here. So now we're going to trim all of our ends here. I would leave probably at least 6 inches. This is probably good for these colors, and then we'll do about this much for this one. Okay, now the last thing we're gonna do here is we're just gonna weave our tails in, and we're gonna do this on the back side. So you're gonna do this for all of your yarn tails here. We're gonna use our rule of 3s, and you wanna weave in your colors on their respective colors. So all of your red tails are gonna go on the red. This way they're not gonna poke through to the front side of your work. So our rule of 3s is that we're gonna go 3 stitches in 3 different directions. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and we'll come back this way. We'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go 1, 2, and 3. And once you've done 3 stitches in 3 different directions, then you can take your scissors and trim your yarn tail. So go ahead and do that for all of your other yarn tails here. And now you can see we've woven all of our ends in, and you have such a cute, darling little falling leaves pot holder. So thanks so much for joining us today. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back and we will do some more fun holiday themed patterns next time.